You've probably seen them by now. Those odd little dolls with toothy grins, giant ears, and eyes that seem to stare right through you. Maybe your kids have begged for one, or you've scrolled past them in a TikTok with someone saying, "This one's rare." At first glance, they look like something out of a children's fantasy, quirky, harmless, collectible. But the more you look at them, the stranger they get. There's something unsettling about Labubu, something that doesn't sit right. Maybe it's the sharp teeth, or maybe it's the fact that grown adults are rioting in stores and spending thousands just to get their hands on one. So then whispers of darker connections start to creep in. Tales of curses, of demons, of children having nightmares. A doll that was once just a toy, now being banned in some countries and feared in others. So what is Labubu really? Is it just another overhyped collectible riding the social media wave? Or is there something deeper, darker, lurking beneath the surface of this so-called cute monster? What started as a quirky designer toy has spiraled into a global obsession laced with mystery, chaos, and conspiracy. And by the end of this video, you might never look at Labubu the same way again. Casing Lung, a Hong Kong-born illustrator raised in the Netherlands, introduced the world to his gentle but wild concept, The Monsters, a curious illustrated series steeped in Nordic folklore. Among those creatures was Labubu, a sweet fuzzy with pointed ears, sharp teeth, and a sidelong grin. Casing wasn't chasing cuteness. He wanted something quirky, mischievous, and unforgettable. Fast forward to 2019. Pop Mart stepped in. This Chinese toy company, founded in 2010 and known for trend-setting blind box collectibles, partnered with Casing to bring Labubu out of the pages and into the world of fans and collectors. At first, Labubu was just one of many new indie toy characters, but then things began to click. Pop Mart started releasing Labubu figurines in surprise blind box formats, turning every purchase into a gamble of wonder. But the explosion didn't truly start until 2024, when Labubu keychains started appearing all over social media, especially after Blackpink's Lisa, a K-pop superstar, was spotted flaunting one on her bag. At that moment, it wasn't just a toy, it became a status symbol. By 2024 to 2025, Labubu was everywhere. Over 300 different versions released, from tiny vinyl keyrings to massive mega plushes. Price points soared, from $15 to $30 for standard blind box figures to eye-watering auction sales like $170,000 for a 4-foot mint green Labubu in Beijing. Pop Mart's revenues doubled or tripled thanks to Labubu's popularity, with profits climbing nearly 400% in 2025. It didn't take long before Labubu stopped being just a collectible. It became an addiction. If you've never experienced a blind box, here's what it's like. You walk into a store or scroll through a site. Buy a box knowing the series you're getting, but not which exact character is inside. That mystery? It hooks people fast. Each release would feature a dozen or more versions, including a rare secret figure. You'd need serious luck or deep pockets to collect them all. For many fans, it wasn't about the toys anymore. It was about the thrill of the chase. The moment you open that box, the surprise hits. And if it's not the one you wanted, well, time to buy another. And another. Before you know it, you've got rows of strange little creatures staring at you, and you're still hunting for the one. Collectors started lining up outside Pop Mart stores. Social media exploded with unboxing videos, reaction clips, and resale prices. And then there were the influencers, celebrities, fashion icons, and streamers casually flashing their Labubu keychains or decorating their desks with rare editions. That pointy-eared little monster with the sharp teeth had officially crossed over from niche toy to pop culture centerpiece. Online resale markets were flooded with Labubu figures, sometimes flipped for 5 or 10 times their original cost. People began traveling to international toy expos and conventions, hoping to snag exclusives. Some spent hundreds, others thousands. A community built up around Labubu, full of fan artists, customizers, and collectors sharing stories like, "I finally found the candy-colored one," or "I traded 3 commons just to get this secret glow-in-the-dark version." Even more interesting? The fan base wasn't just kids. It was college students, young professionals, even older collectors, all drawn in by the nostalgia of surprise, the joy of collecting, and the eerie charm that Labubu carried. But not everyone loved it. Critics started questioning the psychology behind blind boxes, comparing them to gambling. News reports warned that children were getting hooked. Parents were emptying their wallets, and some were getting scammed with fakes in the resale market. The darker side of consumer culture was starting to show, but Pop Mart kept soaring. The Labubu wave wasn't just a fad. It was a phenomenon, a mix of strategic marketing, emotional design, and perfect timing in a world that was craving something new, weird, and oddly comforting. As the Labubu craze surged, something strange began to stir beneath the surface. Something about Labubu didn't feel right. At first, it was harmless. People joking that their Labubu figures always moved slightly on the shelf, or that its gaze felt like it followed them across the room. Classic doll horror stuff. But then the tone changed. Posts started popping up online describing nightmares. Recurring ones, where Labubu appeared in different forms. In some dreams, it spoke. In others, it was just there, standing in the corner, watching. People laughed it off at first. A mix of overactive imaginations and the creepy design, right? But the stories kept piling up. One woman claimed her daughter started talking to her Labubu figure at night and calling it by a name the family had never taught her. Another collector said his shelf full of Labubus fell over multiple times. It didn't help that the doll's creator, Kasing Lung, has always leaned into the eerie side of art. He's described Labubu as a creature who sees the world differently. Some interpreted that artistically, others took it literally. Forums started surfacing theories about Lung's creative process, especially the idea that Labubu was inspired by ancient folklore. These creators dug deep, drawing connections between Labubu's wide grin and symbols of mischief in Eastern spiritual traditions. They pointed to odd design choices, like the fact that no 2 Labubu dolls smile the exact same way, and some even seem to frown slightly. A creepy resemblance between Labubu and a demon pulled straight from ancient mythology, Pazuzu. For those unfamiliar, Pazuzu is a terrifying figure from Mesopotamian mythology, dating back to around 700 BC. Pazuzu's appearance is disturbingly similar to Labubu. He is traditionally depicted with a distorted, grinning face, bulging eyes, sharp fangs, and animal-like features. Sometimes with a mix of canine teeth, a monkey's body, and clawed hands. It didn't take long before fans and conspiracy theorists online started asking, was Labubu inspired by Pazuzu? Pazuzu was said to influence minds, to slip into households, and to bring both charm and chaos. A protector to some, but a curse to others. And Labubu? The toy has sparked emotional obsessions, odd behaviors, and even spiritual fears in some communities. It wasn't just online speculation. Some schools in Southeast Asia reportedly banned Labubu dolls from classrooms, citing disruptive behavior and disturbing appearances. Parents complained of children becoming possessive over the figures, refusing to sleep without them or crying when they were taken away. One child was even reported to have drawn dozens of Labubu-like figures on the walls of their room, each with red eyes instead of black. Was any of this real? Or was the internet simply feeding its own frenzy, turning coincidence into legend? While there's no confirmed link between the two, the comparisons continue to grow. In TikTok comment sections, you'll now see people pointing out the eyes, the teeth, the horns, even the strangely captivating aura they both give off. Some have even gone as far as calling Labubu the Pazuzu of the toy world. Coincidence? Or is Labubu more than just a toy? PopMart stayed silent on the matter, never addressing the darker side of Labubu's popularity. The company leaned into cuteness and collectability, dropping limited holiday editions and collaborating with fashion brands. But the whispers never really stopped. Think about it for a second. Labubu dolls. They smile, they sit on shelves, they're marketed as cute little collectibles. But behind that stitched grin and glassy stare, there's a strange silence that feels too heavy for just plastic and paint. Especially when so many people keep asking the same thing. Why does it feel like it's watching me? Some say it's just the design. Others claim the resemblance to ancient entities like Pazuzu is more than accidental. That it was meant to pull from those darker origins. Maybe it's art imitating horror. Or maybe it's something using art as a mask. There's no proof that Labubu dolls are cursed or possessed, but how do you explain the people who've gotten rid of theirs, only to say the room still felt off afterward? How do you explain the uncanny reports, the similar dreams, the sense of dread? It's not about one story, it's about all of them together. Because when you blend folklore, fear, and the innocence of a toy, what you're left with is something that doesn't quite fit into a box.